Hello, I am Jonathan from Boredom Sated.
I'm Michael from Boredom Sated.
And if you did not see our first video on this topic, Monsters of CR Less Than 1, then you might be slightly confused by the fact that we are now going to go on and do our video Monsters of Exactly CR1 for D&D 5th edition.
We're starting with our top 5. These are creatures that we both enjoy employing as dungeon masters and facing as players as well.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 5, and number 5 for our list is going to be the Harpy. Now, there's two reasons why I like to put the Harpy on this list, and we both agreed with this being on the list in the first place. First, obviously, being a flying creature always makes it more difficult. Because of the way the movement works in 5th edition, where everyone basically has flyby attack, everyone basically has like attack on the run, it makes it so hitting flying creatures is so much more difficult. And being able to deal with ones that have relatively low AC and hit points is a good idea at low level. The other thing is that they have something called the Luring Song. And it's a charm effect. And that charm effect, especially if you can do it early, like if you can get one of your players charmed at level 1, oof, you remember that we've had games where one player getting charmed can destroy the game.
Especially if that player's the cleric, no healing.
Oh, there's so many situations where getting a player to be charmed can kill the party or can just make everything that much more annoying.
Yeah, definitely true. All right, number 4 is the Spectre. You know, I was kind of surprised when I initially saw this. The Spectre was so low because in other editions, Spectre was more mid-level undead, around level 7
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, it depends. But this one's like low, but I'm like, okay. I took a look at the stats, and I'm like, it's still an incredibly interesting encounter. Even a lone Spectre against a party can be, if you play it right, it's like a hit and run tactic. They have incorporeal, which basically means they can move through solid objects. They can fly at 50 feet. They don't walk, they just fly all the time. So 50 feet at any level is pretty impressive for a monster.
Absolutely.
And third, they have a life drain. Now, the 5th edition life drain is just simply they hit you, they do damage, and your maximum hit points are reduced until you take a long rest. So with that combination of abilities, they could just hit and run people, and they don't have to actually be in an encounter as in, I'm going to stay here and let you beat me to death. They could just simply go in, hit one person, and then move away. And keep doing that several times, and then they just leave. And then you can employ them again later on in the adventure as a harrying force. It's a very versatile creature.
Not to mention, of course, its ridiculous number of immunities and resistances because it's an incorporeal and an undead creature.
Yes, it is. Yes, it has a lot of.
Yeah, the list is huge. I love this creature. This is another one that I definitely agree with being both. It's annoying to fight as a player, but it's like it brings the group together because you have to plan on how you're going to try to defeat it. You have to wait until they get close enough to be able to defeat it. And because it's incorporeal, I don't remember if it's in this edition where you can't even hurt it unless you have magic. Because I know in most editions you can't, but I don't remember about 5th because.
Well, there's always magic missile.
No, there's lots of ways to be able to get around that, but most of your fighter types are not going to have magic items at that point.
True.
So it does make it so it's that much more interesting and different of an encounter.
Certainly is.
Number 3, we have gone with the Animated Armor. The Animated Armor, first of all, has a ridiculous AC for level 1. Most of the things we've talked about, I know the Harpy has an AC of 11. So very, very low. The Animated Armor has an AC of 18, where most players have a plus to hit at this level of like +5 or +6 tops. This is a real big challenge for them, and that is a huge thing. It's like, with a Harpy, I hit on a 5. With the Animated Armor, I hit on a 12?
Yeah, and they only have one attack at this level generally. I mean, they don't get attack at level 1.
Now, the other cool thing about animated armors, of course, is that if you can dispel magic them, they just go away because they're animated. And the other great thing about them is that they can hide in plain sight because they're literally just a suit of armor.
True enough. And there's just a coolness factor. It's like the villain's climbing, like for instance in his castle, and he's running away, and he's like, "Aha! There's nothing there to stop us from kicking the crap out of you." It's like, "Get them, my minions!" Suddenly the animated armor starts animating and started attacking you. It's like, wow, that's just cool.
Exactly.
Coolness factor. All right, number 2, we have the humble ghoul. Ah, yes, another undead. You see a sense of theme here, but definitely a predatory undead, often found in packs. They can be very, very deadly if the rolls, a saving throw or two don't go your way because of their paralyzing touch. They also have also a couple of immunities as well, being undead. But there's often you can also be used in a horror or dark fantasy theme, and they'll be just they set the tone. They very much set the tone of the campaign.
Yeah, I agree. Ghouls are great. They are your first undead that you're going to fight that are not necessarily mindless. And that disease is very important. Ghoul touch is a big thing.
Yeah, it is nasty. Unless you're an elf. Somehow gets by a pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I roll my eyes at thee. Not at you, but, at 5th edition. Anyway, now we're going to move into our honorable mentions.
All right. My honorable mention was the humble tiger. I like this simply because it's an animal, and people don't realize how, in a fantasy setting, you figure, an animal, that's not really terrifying. Have you been to the zoo and seen an actual tiger? They are freaking terrifying. And they have an ability called Pounce, which basically means they run at you, they attack you, and in addition to this, they have a chance, there's an athletics check, to knock you prone. So it's just insult to injury.
I agree with you. My honorable mention is the Death Dog. The Death Dog is kind of like a mini Cerberus. It has a very cool ability in that its bite comes with a Constitution save that it gives a disease. And if you fail the disease, it's basically a continuous version of hit point drain, because it takes away 5 hit points from your maximum every time you fail the saving throw.
So it's a bit like a life drain, actually. Yeah,
it's basically a life drain, except it's a disease.
Yeah.
And again, it is a fantastic creature. And obviously it has multi-attack because dog head number 1, dog head number 2.
Do they have... Wait, hold on. Maybe we've had a discussion for another time, but at level 1 party, I don't think they have ability to cure disease. I'm not sure.
No, you got to get to restoration for stuff like that. Restoration... It's a 2nd level spell. It's a CR1 that has an ability that is really unhealthy. Really, you got to make the save is all I'm saying. And also, if you fail to save a 2nd time, you are poisoned. And what does poison do? Makes it so when you try to make that save, you got disadvantage, son.
Oh, dear. That's a rough one.
Oh, yeah. There's one more honorable mention we want to talk about.
Tiger and dog. That was it for us.
Dryad.
Oh, well, the Dryad. That's good old the forest nymph. It was, it had some interesting abilities. It could tree stride, which basically means it can walk through trees and travel through them. Again, like incorporeal, that makes it a rather
hit and run.
Very much an ambusher. Hey, how you doing? Let me do some nasty things to you. Run into this tree. What? It's a tree. What do we do at a tree? Level 1 party. What we good? They don't get an axe. I don't know. They don't have much there. Plus, they have an interesting ability that is very, I think, underrated in Dungeons & Dragons, just in role-playing in general. Speak with beasts and plants. Now, plant part, well, how useful is that? Well, there could be various carnivorous plants around. Seymour from, not Seymour, Little Shop of Horrors, that type of thing. And beasts, well, guess what? I just said a tiger is pretty deadly, like lions, wolves, all sorts of nasty things. A dryad could say, hey, you guys are my buddies, right? There's a bunch of humans or whatever here. Go take care of them. Suddenly you have a pack of wolves to deal with or something.
Absolutely. One other thing, of course, that needs to be mentioned that I mentioned with Harpies is the same basic idea. They have Fey Charm. And their Charm DC is way higher than the DC for the Harpy. It's a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw.
At level 1.
At level 1. Now remember, your saving throw, if you are not a Wisdom-based character, and if you are not a Wisdom-based character or you don't have, Wisdom as one of your trained saves, you are screwed.
It's a dump stat for most warrior types and even rogues, maybe.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad. So Dryads are a very dangerous thing to have to fight as a level 1, as a CR1 creature.
Ugh, yeah.
And finally, our number 1 is the Imp.
The humble Imp.
The humble little Imp. Now, the humble little Imp could come to you looking like something else, a spider. Could come to you looking like a cat. Could come to you, I think, what is the list? A rat, a raven, a fly, or a rat, a raven, a spider are its 3 beast shapes that it can take.
Yeah.
So it can come to you looking like something else. It can turn invisible at will, which is always ridiculously annoying for any creature, especially one that's CR1. In of itself, it flies, which is also annoying. It's a devil, which means it's got devil resistances, which is also annoying. And you know what? I love to do this, especially with my parties, and I like to do it when I'm in a party. It's a devil. They'll always be willing to make a deal.
Yes, always make a deal with this little bastard. No, they also they're employed by wizards as familiars, and of course. I don't do this too often, but, tempting some players with a deal here and there. Hey, you know what? If you're growing up in power, how about I can help you. I can show you the ropes. And, yeah, no one's ever taken me up on that offer.
I can think of at least several people who have taken you up on that offer in several different campaigns.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I can even think of maybe some people who have taken you up on that offer who don't happen to be on this video at this moment. That's beside the point. The point is, devils are fun. The Imp is one of the first devils that we can do. Just like last time we had a demon that was a very low-level demon. This one, obviously with its intelligence, it can also start trying to mess with you, and they are lots of fun. There are plenty of other CR1s out there, but these are the ones that we thought were the most fun by far. If you agree, disagree, give us your own list. Feel free to do so.
And hit a like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you next time from Boarded Secret.